Attention, Peanut Gallery. We're shooting our show.
It's always,
It's about us, not y'all.
We got to be more selective of who we let sit in here.
Quiet on the set.
It's really about me.
Bunch of strippers.
Quiet on the set.
All right, we are back. And as always, we got Gunny Matheson, Joe Schmidt.
I got new credentials.
Nice.
Oh,
$1
that's
million
right.
rider.
Yeah.
Excuse me. As not always, but we have a new $1 million rider, Gunny Matheson.
Thank you.
Joe Schmidt. And today, 2023 NRHA Futurity champion, Brian Bell. That sounds good, doesn't it?
That sounds really good.
Yeah, I bet it does. I bet it does. That was fun. That was fun to watch. That was not always, it's not always decided to run it off, but that was a crowd pleaser. Those two horses had really good runs, and that was a crowd pleaser.
Well, there have been a bunch of ties and a bunch of stuff too, and nobody ever runs it off anymore. It was cool to watch you guys run it off.
Yeah, I think when you all of us, when we first start deciding we want to show, the futurity is the thing that you decide you want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you decide to start showing reining horses and I want the one to win the this and that, and like you want to win the futurity.
Yeah, without a doubt. And your mare Crystallized Whiskey, she by Whiskey and Diamonds, and out of a mare that you've pretty familiar with the bottom side, huh?
Yeah, I rode Wimpy's Little Chick her whole 2-year-old year, like 75% of it, and then I showed a half sister to her, Kalina's Finest Taffy, that I was second in the futurity with, and so like training her, I felt like it was family, and I kind of knew what to do with it.
Yeah, so it felt she resembled some of those others.
Yeah,
that's cool. I remember the first time we saw that mare in Ocala. You won Ocala, and then you won the Congress.
Yeah,
and at Ocala, she looked really, really good. And then just to me, obviously, as the year goes on, they're going to get better. But she just looked more and more solid every single time you showed up.
She looked solid in Florida, though. She did look solid every time.
Yeah, no.
I mean, except for that first go round of the futurity, marked 17.5, 17, huh? You had to come back, huh? Big time comeback.
I think when I marked the 17.5 on her, that I just didn't get her ready, and I didn't, wasn't paying attention, and then she kind of wasn't as ready as what she needed to be, and when I went to slow her down, I wasn't showing her good, and I kind of threw myself back, and she, thought, maybe he wants me to stop, and she slid a little bit, and luckily they got me a 1-point penalty and minus the maneuver rather than giving me a 2-point penalty. So, I mean, I felt like I dodged a bullet, and then, everybody starts talking and whatever, like, oh, you got to mark a crazy score to, get back and whatever.
No, old Gunny Matheson, he didn't say that to you, did he?
No,
Gunny Matheson did not say that to you.
Gunny said, he goes, you got to mark a 19 and a half, and you'd be really safe. And so
said, you just got to go show your horse. She'll score all the points. I mean, you could have screwed it all up, but she really does score all the points. I mean, she does the turning and the stopping and the circling.
I have screwed it up before.
So what did you do different between the first go and the semis? You came back and marked like 23. You won the semis. How did you get it? Did you get her ready different, or you just show her different?
I got her ready a little different, and I did my large, fast, small, slow more, and in the first go around, I wasn't sitting down on my butt like I needed to be, and I was kind of bouncing around on her, and I just was not in sync with her, and so I just went large, fast, small, slow, large, fast, just to get us together more, and then then I thought about it like we always do our large, fast circle, and her hands are halfway up their neck, and I'm guiding her back here all the time instead of, so I practiced getting my hand out in front of me and getting her between my reins, and and then she just dialed right in kind of on her own.
Yeah, and she must have been. I didn't see her in the semifinals, but she must have been very good because you kind of What was second? What you were 23 and a half. Mm-hmm. What was second in the semis?
21 maybe.
Yeah, so you won the semis pretty easy. And the semis was tricky because I think 3 of the top 4 horses in the go around. Was it 3 of the top 4, 3 of the top 5 went out in the semis, and that's.
I think she was the only horse in the in the semis that made the finals. I think she was the only horse that came up score wise and with less maneuvers to do it with. It was I just needed to be good and be not have any penalties and stay out of trouble.
All right. So then in the finals, so we got the beautiful part of that Futurity now to me with this. What day did you go in the first go around? You remember?
I went the third day on her in the first go around.
Okay, so you went to the Thursday. So you get almost a week to kind of let them chill a little bit and catch their air, and you catch your air. And do you think that rest helped her any, or it didn't really make any difference?
I mean, I think that rest helps us all. I mean, I remember like the first time I ever showed in the Futurity, you could go at 11 o'clock at night, and then you could get up in the morning to show, and there'd be, 10 scratches before you or 8 scratches before you, and you had no way of knowing it. Yeah. So like our schedule now is as good as you could get it. I mean, I think 2 nights I stayed up till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the rest of the time I was at bed by 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You said the same thing. Huh?
Yeah, I think the schedule right now is so good, and that's just what it does. I mean, we were in bed at 10:30 every night, and it used to be you'd show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then if you didn't know for sure, like Saturday night, a lot of times they didn't get the draw out until 10 o'clock at night. You didn't know Saturday night getting your horse ready if you were going to show Sunday afternoon or, I just hated that because, like, you could go out. Let's use Danny, for example. Danny goes out and wins the first go-around. His horse looks phenomenal. And if he comes back Monday morning or Sunday afternoon, let's say Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning and does that, nobody remembers him. But to me, that semifinals is such a showcase that people are going to remember Danny and Danny's horse anyway. I mean, he went out there and was so good in the go-around and then came back and he only did 1 maneuver in the finals, but everybody remembers it, where if it was Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and I think the crazy thing, too, like if you think, okay, Danny, you just marked a 25 and a half. You've knocked everybody in the head as hard as you could do it. Tomorrow, all you got to do is go mark a 212. That should be the easiest thing on earth you've ever done. Like, just go mark a 212. A 212, I mean, you plus have 2 maneuvers and you're there. And, and then like a wreck happens and then what do you do?
Yeah.
But the second go-round of the Futurity is the hardest go-round that we deal with.
The semifinals, yeah.
The semifinals, yeah. Because you've already done good enough to make it there. So you're nervous because you're anxious because you're halfway there. And that would be the hardest 212 to mark if you were just trying to mark it. How many times have we seen guys mark a 25 and then say, hey, you just got to mark a 210, 212.
And they can't do it.
And something happens.
Yeah.
I mean, either they kick out or they trot or they slide or they stop. I mean,
yeah. And there's not anybody more capable of walking in there and getting it done than Danny. Yeah. I mean, we've seen him do it over and over. And in hindsight, you go, all he had to do was mark a 212. But, I mean,
way different.
Yeah, it's just not always that easy. And you don't know if he walked in there and asked that horse to turn a 1 or if that horse just turned a 1. I mean, and some of them, that's just all they can do is turn a 1. You try and back them off and it gets ugly and stupid and hard to shut off and all that stuff. So
I was amazed at the number of people that, walking around that said, God, I feel sorry for Danny. I mean, we all want to kick everybody's ass as far as we can kick it, but you want to do it fair and square. I mean, on the best day you ever had, kick your butt. I don't want to kick you when you tripped over your tennis shoes were untied or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, man, I think that was awesome that the guys were all had the same feeling for the most part with that.
Yeah, for sure. So you get through the semifinals. That's on Wednesday. We get 2 days, and then we got the finals. What did you? So you come off a 2:23.5 in the semifinals. Do you continue to practice the maneuvers? How much do you have to do with your mare? You just kind of chill her out and get her ready?
Yeah, I kind of just chilled her out. I mean, I didn't after the semifinals, I gave her the next day off, and then when I rode her the day after, I worked on my circles. I didn't turn her around, and you know, not knowing where I would draw up, I thought I need to be able to practice to go as long as I want to go. I said I need to, you know, and I went all the way past the end marker and almost to the fence every time when I stopped her, you know, to make sure that I could try to navigate.
Yeah, if you're saying if you're late in the drag and you had to run past slide tracks and stuff,
Yeah.
you were right. And where were you in the drag?
I was 22nd, so I was second after the drag. But Sam Smith came out there, and I mean, I felt like I was a youth kid riding with Sam again. He came out there and he said, "I'm not trying to get in your business," he said, but he said, "You can't stop where everybody else is stopping." He said, "You need to go to the inside, but don't flirt with the middle, or you can go to the outside and go long." He said, "But you cannot stop where everybody else is stopping. Everybody's hitting the, you know, ground that's not as good as what you need." And so, like, you know, like, I want to go long. I don't want to go too long and get in trouble with doing that. And I think accidentally I'd practiced going long so much that I mean, I think I was well past the end markers on every stop.
Right. And you were draw 22, so you go out there and mark a 25.5. And Andrea was in the last set, right?
Andrea was last.
He was
He was
dead last.
last.
Jason
Okay.
was second to last, and Cade was third to last. I mean,
Yeah, how about that?
Where are you at whenever Cade's sitting on a horse that he was second in the Congress, won Tulsa on? Jason's sitting on a horse he won the Southwest on, and Andrea's sitting on the horse that he won the Invitational on.
And they
Were
held
you-
the score on both
Yeah,
of those.
were you
horses.
sitting in a lucky chair, or were you
Well,
did you have your fingers crossed? Were you not even giving a crap? Were you just drinking somewhere? Or?
No, the crazy thing is I'm leading my horse around, and I don't know if I look like I was leading my you know, puppy around or something like that, but I'm leading my horse around and whatever. And Cade looks at me and he goes, "Brian," he said, "get the fudge out of here." He said, "Go somewhere and get away from the crowd or whatever." And I'm thinking, shit, he's getting ready to be one of the guys that's going to maybe kick my butt. And then you said, "Brian, go find a lucky seat to sit in." And so I walk back to my stalls and I get my dog, which I don't normally like bring a dog to the horse show because I'm not a bring a dog to the horse show kind of person. And I walk all the way to that building across the street and all the way to the back of it. And there's one chair sitting in the back of that building left over from the Rainers night out. And so I was like, I'll sit here. And my dog lays down beside me. And then the announcer starts talking. I hear it bouncing off the back wall in there. I'm like, well, this is not any better. I said, the only thing that's worse is I'm over here by myself and my dog's just looking at me. He can't say, "Brian, shh, you know, chill out," or whatever. But and then when I heard the announcer say they're holding Jason's score and then they're holding Andrea's score, I'm like, they're trying to torture me. I was like, this is torture. I'd rather be punched in the face than to be doing this. I mean, like son of a bitch.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that was tough.
and I heard, I don't know if this is true or not. I heard they held Andrea's score just to make sure they had the math right. I don't know if anybody else heard that,
I don't know.
but I heard and they didn't announce it right away. They weren't exactly reviewing something. They held it to make sure they got
that would
the
make
right.
sense because there was nothing to review on that pattern from
Yeah.
what I remember.
That's what they did.
Yeah. So what now is when it gets crazy. So we're all standing back there. Nobody knows what's going on.
Trailers driving in the arena.
Trailer actually goes
Yeah.
in the arena. What was happening?
I'm across the street with my dog, and Ruben calls me. He goes, "You need to get over here." He said, "There's you're tied with Andrea." Okay, and then Andrea grabs the phone and he goes from Ruben. He goes, "What do you want to do?" Whatever. I said, "I don't know. I'll be there in a second." So I hang the phone up. My dad calls me. He goes, "You're tied." Whatever. I said, "I know. I'm coming." And like, ran over there, put my dog in a stall, and my Cody and Nike and Eduardo, they're leading my horse around, and I don't 100% know what I want to do. I mean, I'm sitting there like the trainer's already in the arena. Like, I'm not sure if I'm too late to make a decision or if I'm, like late on the whole thing. And then Andrea wants to go be co-champions and whatever, and he kind of felt like he was pressing it a little bit that he wanted to be co-champions. And I said, "Andrea, I've never won it before. I need a couple of minutes to think about it." And Wallace Wood, that owns the horse, he's standing beside me, and I like kind of leaned over like to think about what I wanted to do, and tears flew out like crazy. I mean, I lost it. I mean, I'm like crying my eyes out, and Wallace passed me on the back and he said, "Brian, you don't have to do this if you don't want to." And like a Hallmark movie, I look over at my horse. She's unwrapped. She doesn't have a scratch on her body. She doesn't have a blemish on her legs or whatever. And she's turning around looking me in the face from behind like this. And I'm thinking, I said, I'm an idiot if I don't do this for her. Like, she's sound. She's has no front shoes on. She wears a little 7/8 sliding plate on the back, and she can slide a mile with those on. And I said, this horse is bred to do this, designed to do this. And I said, I'm an idiot if I cheat her out of it. And then I'm thinking, well, shit, I've already been second twice by half a point. Like, I got to do it.
Right.
And
but I mean, some would argue that you kind of already have the title. Would a title with the tie come with an asterisk to you?
I think a little bit. I mean, I think there's certain situations where you think about it differently like that. But I thought, if I'm co-champions, it's $150,000 pay cut from what that is.
Yeah.
And then, if I win it, then, I've done the one thing on the earth that I wanted to do forever. Is that, like,
So to be that close and say, "Nah, we're good, we're tied," probably couldn't stomach it, huh?
Todd Summers walks by me and he goes, "Brian, if you're second," he goes, "you're still Futurity champion." And I'm like, "I'm not still Futurity champion. I'm co-Futurity champion." And then Eduardo, I think, knew before I ever got there, because he went to the stalls to find me, and I wasn't there. I was with my dog in the back, but he grabs a brand new set of wraps and
He was ready.
He said, I felt like that you would say it. And because I just brought the wraps, I brought new tape to put on her. And he said when I said wrap her legs, it looked like NASCAR. I mean, I think all the kids are working for me. I mean, they had all 4 legs wrapped in a second. And my wife was standing behind me, and she tells me, she goes, "You've been over," and she goes, "You're a mess." She goes, "You've lost it," and whatever. And she said, when you stood up and said, "I'm going to run it," she said there was a whole different look.
That's cool.
And I felt like myself. I'm like, I don't know. I was more nervous the first time, and then the second time I was like shit. But technically, I won it already, so I just need to go win it again.
Yeah.
And
Well, what goes through your head after that? Like, you're trotting around the makeup pen and there's...
Well, look, before we go there, at that time, were you thinking about the American? Did that come into your head at all?
Not really, because I didn't know exactly where I was in relation to it. I knew that, going into Futurity, I think I was 8th place maybe, or 7th place or something like that. I knew I was kind of in the ballpark and knew I needed to do better, do good at the Futurity if it was an option. But after that, if I win it, I knock Luca, Andrea's son, out of the running for that.
Yeah.
And if I'm co-champion, if I'm co-champions, then maybe I don't.
Right.
But
so I wonder if, just sitting here thinking, I wonder if Andrea had an idea that if you guys were co-champions, Luca would be in and you would be out. Is that how the numbers worked out? Do you know? Have you looked at all?
I haven't looked yet, but
it is.
He was a whole lot more adamant about being co-champions than I was. I mean, I kind of was thinking maybe I would do it and whatever, and then Wallace that owns the horse. I mean, if I wanted to take her to a show, to ride, or to go to the vet or a schooler, or do her teeth, or put different shoes on her. I mean, he never ever one time said, I don't want you to do that. I mean, he said, it's your thing, you do your thing, and he's let me do all of it. But I think more important for me, the American would be fun to go to, but winning the Futurity was the thing that when I first fell in love with reining horses, that I saw Bill Horn showing and whatever, and I'm like, that guy's the Marlboro Man, he's a badass. I want to be like that guy. I mean, that was the thing.
He would have run it off too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody in that building thought that you wouldn't run it off.
Well, I also don't think any in that building thought Andrea wouldn't run it off either.
Yeah.
So, because Andrea's been on TV talking about always run it off. I mean, Andrea's been the biggest proponent of runoffs. So, I don't think it was a shock.
Then, another thing that popped into my head when, Cade tied to win for the run for me, and you guys made a decision to be co-champions. You guys have made a decision that had a lot of thought into it. I mean, you looked at what the judges marked them, you looked at each other, you looked at what the difference in money was going to be, and I felt like I didn't have enough time to go, hold on, let me see the scorecard, let me do this, let me do that, and I think you guys doing that was super smart, because it was a whole lot more money.
And Kate didn't want to do it. And to be clear, that was not. I mean, Mandy and I talked him into doing it. Yeah. Kate didn't want to do it, but there were two judges that were very high on Craig, and we just had, we had our concerns that, he's 19 years old. Were they going to let it happen? That was our concern. And but
I didn't have any of the, what George Martin, whatever. I didn't know if there was something I could have, cleaned up or put my hand down or do this or that or whatever. I mean, I didn't have enough time to put it together.
Yeah, and I think if you and Kate were in similar situations, you both had a lot of confidence in your horse. I think when you look at all the people that talk about, you always have to run it off. You always have to run it off. You look at Facebook and there's a million people that post, that's a good old time rein and you got to run it off. I think if you got a horse like you run it off. But if you go out there and pull one out of your ass and mark a 225 on a 219 horse, you go, let's
co-champions.
Let's call it a day.
Co-champions, call it a day.
And I mean, it's been done. It's been done a lot where that's happened. And I don't know what was going through Andrea. I don't know if he was, if Luca.
Well, Andrea was dead last in the reining. His horse was probably gassed.
Yeah.
I mean, he's thinking Brian's horses had an hour longer to recover. I'm sure Andrea's no dummy. I'm sure he thought it out strategically what was the best thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not making an emotional decision.
No.
He's thinking everything through.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was right. I mean, he would have been better off being co-champions.
Yeah, I was impressed, like, with, Cade's getting ready to show against me. We all know Cade can do the deal for sure. And then there's Gunny, he's getting ready to show against me. And both of them were like, go find a lucky place to sit. Get out of here, clear your mind, get away from the commotion and whatever. And then, when we're tied, and I had just made the decision that I wanted to run it. Here comes Jason, man, landing him across the arena. And Sean Flaherty, they were at a trot, both of them coming at me. And Jason goes, "What do you need?" And I'm like, I don't know. He said, he goes, "Do you want this arena cleared?" I looked around and I'm like, "Yeah, I want this arena cleared." He goes, "You want to drag it?" I'm like, "Yeah, drag it. get this cleaned up and whatever." And the truck and trailer is pulled around up against the back where Kyle Tacky is by this point. And he said, "You want the truck and trailer out here?" I said, "No, I think it's fine."
But then Flaherty grabbed you and took you across the street.
So then Flaherty grabs me, Sean grabs me, he goes, "You need to start the clock ticking now." He said, "The longer you wait, the more dangerous Andrea is going to get." He said, "The more his horse airs up, the more he gets time to think about it, the more in trouble you are." And Matt Lance, the steward, is there. And Sean said, "He has 45 minutes starting now. Is that correct?" And Matt goes, "Yes." And Sean sets a clock on his watch. And I go I'm walking across to the other barn 6 with Sean. And Sean goes, "I'm not trying to get in your middle or what are you doing? I'm not trying to do any of that." He goes, "I just want to make sure you have all the time to do everything you want to do." He said, "I'm going to just tell you where we are time-wise." And I go to the other arena and I look quietly all the way to the other end, and she waited on me. She didn't do anything, and then I walked around to the center and I stopped and sat there for a minute.
Were you the only one in there?
The only one in there. And Sean was there, and my help had gone up and sat in the stands, and I walked in the middle and sat there, and I looked 2 big quiet circles to the right. And then I ran a large fast circle and slowed her down, and she slowed down as good or better than she did, any other time. And Sean said, "You got 25 minutes." And I said, "I want to go to the fence with her 3 times." And I took her and ran her, end to end, just made her go all the way to the fence. And he said, "You got 15 minutes." And I said, "I don't need 15 minutes. I said, she's ready." And so I walked back across there, and, Sean is, reminded me of stuff that you think but you don't think about it that you know. And Sean goes, "Just so you know," because if anything happens at all, he said, a score, anything above a 0 is a score. He said, if you get a 0, he said, he's the winner. He said, if anything happens, don't pull up, don't whatever. He said, get a score. And we get in the other arena, and I asked Sean, I said, "You got any advice?" And he goes, "You got the best tuned up 3-year-old in the whole world right here today." He said, "You don't need to turn her, you don't need to stop her, you don't need to do anything." He said, "Go in there and show her exactly like you showed her the first time." And walk down into the alleyway there, and they're playing the "We Will Rock You" song. They're doing all that stuff, and like the place is going crazy. And Sean said, "Wait till everybody calms down." He goes, "Don't." He said they'll shut up and just wait. He said, "I know the announcer's calling you, I know all that stuff." He said, "Just wait." And when I went through the gate with her, I knew, I was like, all I got to do is do my thing and stay out of trouble. And whatever, and I had a spin penalty to the right in the runoff pattern, and my brother, who doesn't know anything about horses, my brother said, he said, you had your spin penalty. He said, and all of a sudden, he said it changed to a different thing. He said her second turn was better. He said your circles were better. He said you started like okay, I got one shot against me, and he goes, you need to knock out the
rest of it.
Things. And
and it was, to me, is pretty incredible how good after that long week, second run, crowd going crazy, that mare showed so good. Yeah. You know, run to all her stops, and that mare showed so good.
NRHA came in there and was pretty dang good too. Like he had his game, he had his stuff together too.
Yeah, you both had. I don't think he had a turn penalty, but he didn't turn good one way
to the right. Yeah.
So you were both kind of about even loping off, but
yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm doing the interview with Jennifer Reynolds, and Andrea's going, and I'm trying to talk to her and looking around her like whatever. Like, I'm glad you're talking to me, but I don't really want to talk to you. I want to pay attention to this. And like, I mean, he's going along, and I'm thinking, we're neck and neck. I mean, like we're neck and neck, and then he runs and hits his first stop on the side, and I'm like, pretty big roll back. He rolls back, runs and stops on the second stop, and I'm thinking, big time stop, roll back, kind of stuck his face up in the air a little bit. And Jennifer Reynolds had said, you know, how do you feel you're in the middle of a runoff with Andrea Pafani, who's never lost a runoff? And I said, I've never lost a runoff either. And he goes in there, and they call the score out, and I just looked at her and smiled, and I said, still haven't. And turn and walk away, and then they call out his score, and my wife, she squeals, like, I don't know how her voice went that high, and she flops on the ground. Eduardo comes running up behind her. He said, I thought she passed out or something. He goes, I grab her, trying to get her off the ground and whatever, and he goes, and she goes, I'm fine. Like,
in that moment when you were making the decision to run it off, did you think, what happens if I'm second? Did it even cross your mind?
I think in my mind, like, you know, we show against so many people that are so good all the time. I mean, if you're second, you're third, you're fifth, you're 25th, and you got your butt kicked fair and square, I mean, we all take our licks and just go, he kicked my butt today, he kicked my butt today, you kicked my butt, and you just go along with it. I don't think you. For me, what keeps me from being crazy is like, is not like letting that stuff
affect you.
You know, bother me. And like, you know, my dad goes, hey, do you think you're going to win the Futurity this year? I said, no, probably going to be second like last year, or second like the year before, or whatever. Like, you know, I try not to let it, you know, jack me up as to what I'm going to do. I mean, and like, I don't think you can do that to yourself.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to think about it.
So now your mare is undefeated, right? You just showed her the 3 times. You won the Congress. You won Ocala, the Congress, and
yeah. And Brooke Wharton did a little research. Brooke owns her mother, and Brooke told me today that she's the highest money-earning 3-year-old in history.
$420,000.
$420,000. She's the 3rd highest money-earning mare behind her grandmother, Wimpy's little chick, Andiamo. She's $10,000 behind Andiamo, and she's like the 6th or 7th. No, she's the 12th highest money-earning horse in history. So,
if she were a stud, you would retire her and breed mares, because I mean that's what Wimpy's little step did. He just knocked it out of the park, and then $1 million sire. But she's got lots of life left to her.
No, I think a lot of people are probably hoping you retire her.
I'm glad she's not a stud. I'm glad that we get to show her and play with her some more. You know, but I mean, we'll give her obviously a big vacation, and then figure it out. What to do with her after that.
Well, I mean, a horse like Patriot's at $835,000. Like, we could have a reining horse that wins $1 million. It could
We
be that
will
mare.
have a reining horse that wins $1 million.
Yeah, it could be that mare. She's at
Yeah.
$420,000
In
And
three
she-
shows.
in 3 shows, and she has so many new opportunities with the 100X 4-year-old stuff. And
So what's it look like for her next year? Is it the 100X, or are you going to do also the the Derby and the NRBC?
we need a decision now. You can't take it.
I'm sure
Well,
you thought about it a little.
I'd like to play it smart with her and not overload her, because if I can be smart with her, then if I have a big time Derby horse, all the way till she's 7 years old, then obviously I've got a better chance of making her the highest money horse in history. But if I get stupid and show her too early, or don't pick the right shows to show her at, I mean, the 100X has such a big 4-year-old thing that that's probably something that's going to happen. But I don't want to be stupid with her and do the wrong thing.
I
Yeah.
don't think whiskey's in the 100X.
I don't know.
No,
You don't think so?
He's not.
he's not.
No, actually, I know he's not, because I was going to try. I was trying to buy one at the Futurity, and you
Well,
might.
then we're
So
not.
you're
then
not
we're
showing
not
her.
going to do that.
Well,
So then there's that.
well, you might be able to work that out. I mean, you might be able to work something out with them. I know those people. I'll talk to them for you.
And with all of this, you're going to qualify for the American. You're second or third in the standings now. What do you got to show there? Do you even know?
I have no idea, because I wasn't planning for it, and I wasn't eligible for it last year, so I don't know anything about it. And I showed a horse in the Open at the Futurity and marked a 26.5 on it, and the plan was for the horse to go home to Florida to take a break for Gunna Woe that Catherine Crandon owns. And this morning I wake up and I'm like, he can't go home. He needs to stay here,
Yeah.
because if that's my option to show, I need to have time to school him, get him ready and whatever. And then, some of the guys that were there last year, they said, you have a small arena that's to warm up in, that's maybe as big as this room, to warm up and all that stuff. They said you need to get the brokest horse you have, not necessarily the best horse you have or whatever. They said you need one that can have a good sense of humor,
Easy to prepare.
trot around and show. And so I only have 2 horses at my barn that I think maybe could do that, but I'm
Who are the 5 for
looking
the
for
American?
options.
Who are the 5?
It is.
Andrea?
It goes Andrea at 710,000, Bryant at 476, Casey at 472, Kate at 389, Jason at $383,809, Luca at $383,752.
So Jason and Luke are
$56.
$56.
Oh my
beside
God.
each other.
That's unreal.
If I were them right now, I'd be in a good old-fashioned NRHA world title race somewhere
Trailer
on
race.
the schedule. I'd be
There-
going to Puerto Rico, Mexico, Canada, Russia, wherever they have a reining show. I'd be on my way there in a 2-horse trailer.
There's 4 horse shows left.
4 horse shows left. Man.
Idaho this weekend.
Hey, don't get bumped.
Italy, Israel, South Africa.
Israel probably wouldn't be the funnest
No.
place to be going, showing a reining horse right about now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not real near Gaza.
Well, and I told one of the ladies in an interview, they asked me how before the finals, they had asked me how I thought the 100X or the American had changed things, and I said this turned it into a competition for who ends up, at the end of the year. And you used to have like the world title horses and whatever, and like, if you won the world title or you won the Futurity or whatever, you're the guy. And that thing has turned it into the same thing, because I've heard of a lot of these guys like going to.
Kate was showing in the open class in the makeup pen at Ardmore. He's marking 73s in 1,000 added, 500 added class because he wanted to be in top 5.
And a lot of those guys wouldn't normally, say, okay, we're gonna win 1,500 if we win this one or whatever. But like it changed it to where like, hey, can I show your horse? Can I show your horse? How about your horse? And that's you haven't seen that in a long.
Yeah, well,
forever.
when you think about it, $53. I mean,
$53 is that little 73 and a half you marked in Ardmore.
Had Cade not won the money in the ancillary, Cade would be out.
Oh,
That's
ancillary Ken McCutcheon. I told you. They helped me too. Helped me crack that million. Wasn't getting it done in the big pen.
And Catherine that owns Gun of Woe that I showed, she goes, "You sure you want to show him in the open down there? I don't want to get in the way of your Futurity and blah blah blah." And I said I don't think it gets in the way of my Futurity. I said it kind of gives me a warm up that I've shown a horse at the Futurity. I know where my hat is. I know where my chaps are. Everything else. I mean, for me, like that helps me like to, okay, let's go show in a smaller class to, as a warm up to make sure my hat's not still in the horse trailer. My, stuff's all together. I mean,
Everything fits.
Yeah, I don't want to put this year's ass in last year's chaps. I mean, we've all been there before.
So you were undefeated at the Futurity also?
Yeah.
No.
He won the Open at the Futurity?
Yeah, but he also just made the finals on Ruben Jello horse. But your semifinals run was pretty badass on him. He got beat by somebody on him.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Yeah.
Were you last place in the finals?
He bookended the
Yeah. Oh, baby.
Bookended.
You won $360,000 at the Futurity.
Yes, and that horse is going to be a very happy gelding in the next couple of days. He'll be singing soprano and
turning to the left.
Turn to the left. Like I wanted to turn to the left.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. That crowd that we had there, I think everybody agrees was probably the biggest crowd we've ever had. I think the vendors did great up there. I mean, it was. Raining's in a great place right now.
We're 4 days past it, man. My throat is still hoarse from hollering for them two guys in that runoff. That was fun.
Yeah,
I loved it at the Futurity, and they do the same thing at the Cutting Futurity. And they used to have so much of the live feed that's at everybody's stalls and whatever, and everybody sit by their stalls and have a drink and watch the Futurity. And I think I saw 3 different places that had the live feed at their stalls. I think it's great that that's not there and it's inside. You have to go inside, you have to watch inside to where it's a sporting event, versus, sitting there having a drink with your friends and whatever. I think it's better that it's like that now.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some people that have the live feed, but I think there's so many people. The atmosphere in the arena, outside of the runs, NRHA puts on a good show, and the whole. I mean, it builds on itself, and I just think that whole week, starting Wednesday morning with the semifinals, everything was. I mean, there was people everywhere, and I don't really recall a time where we've had more interest in looking at horses and selling horses and. I mean, the vets were busy doing pre-purchases, and it's just a great time to be in the reining horse business. And, I know when we started, I mean, me and you didn't do this because you were going to go buy a big fancy ranch somewhere.
No, you might sell your Open Futurity finalist for $15,000 when you walked out the gate.
You and I both done it.
For sure.
Yeah.
He sold one for less one time.
Yeah, 7,500. Open Futurity Finals top 10. 7,500. Yeah.
Well, and I was impressed, like, from some of the stuff that I couldn't believe I didn't know, or that you know, like, I mean, you see stuff from a distance, like, oh, good for him, whatever, and whatever. But like, when I get back to my horse, they've got her standing there, and they've got the roses around her neck, and like every other show you go to, it's nylon roses, and like I look down and I'm like, those are real roses around her neck, and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's nice. I mean, I don't know why that hit me. I'm like, son of a bitch, that's nice. And you know, then I you know, all of us love Cheryl Cody, and like she does such a great job at all the shows and whatever. And I'm getting ready to walk down into the arena, and they start playing the Run for the Roses thing, and I woke up for the last 3 or 4 days since then thinking Run for the Roses, and I'm like, no, I'm just home. I'm not running. But I'm getting ready to walk in, and Cheryl goes, wait just a second. I said, okay. And so then my mare like goes a step forward, and she says, wait just a second. And she looks up at me with this big smile, and she goes, this is your moment. She goes, take all of it. She said, take your time, take whatever. And I looked down at her and I'm like, okay.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. That is, it is. She's exactly right. And sometimes you got to have people around that aren't you to tell you, this is your moment. Take your time.
I thought I need to get in there. Like they started playing the song. She goes, oh no. She goes, wait till the lady starts singing Run for the Roses. She said, then you go in. But I mean, otherwise I would have been looping 10 circles in there before the lady started singing it. And I'm like, she said, no, just wait, enjoy it. I'm like,
poor Cade, they forgot the words when he won it. Yeah. She just she was reading it off her phone and forgot the words.
I was real surprised when I called the video people. I ordered the award ceremony. Jeremy told me no one's ever done that before. That's the best part.
Nobody's ever done what?
Ordered the award.
Your video.
Oh yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
Well,
They had it.
call Equine Promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Has it really hit you yet? Has it sunk in, or is it still pretty surreal feeling?
My mom asked me the other day. She said, "Have you come down off this high yet?" I said, I'm hoping it doesn't ease off anytime soon. I said, like,
that's cool.
I said, we got a long time before the next show. I said, I kind of like to float around and be the Futurity champion for a little while longer, as you know, because as soon as the show season starts, you're only as good as the last run you had.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we could start showing in July or August or whatever, and I could just float around being the guy, you know, which would be fine.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're always, once you won the Futurity, you're always a Futurity
Yeah,
champion.
they can't take it away from you.
I was floored too at Odin that does the ring.
Oh, did?
Yeah, he comes out there and he starts sticking a ring on my sausage fingers and whatever.
It goes on his pinky.
And
I was standing right there.
Yeah, it goes on my pinky and that's it. And he goes, "Oh, you got really fat fingers." And I'm like, "Shut up, shut up!" And he goes, "Oh, you can customize it a little bit how you want it to be customized and whatever." And I'm thinking, well, I think it's supposed to go to the owner. And then he goes, no, he goes, I make one for you and I make one for him. And I was like, well, how did I not know that? I guess I didn't need to pay attention to it before, but.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that ring, that's a pretty ring. I saw Cade's. It's a real pretty ring. I don't know how that's going to go with Wallace's overalls.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he's going to make that work into an outfit, but like,
Who cares? I'd make it into
Yeah,
an
right?
outfit.
It doesn't matter.
Wallace's overalls and his ring. I mean, I'm sure they're figured out and kind of in the like my wife when after I'd asked her to marry me, I didn't have a ring or anything like that together. My wife goes along with my sister, and she's going along and she goes, "Oh, I found a ring I want to buy." I'm like, seriously? I said, I'm supposed to do that. No, I found the one I want to buy. I said, you don't have to do that. I'll buy the ring. And she goes, no, I want this one. And I'm thinking, I said, well, how much is it? She tells me how much it is, and I'm like, like that. I just dodged a bullet on that one. I got the right one for sure. And so then I told Odin that I would.
Odette.
I told Odette. I said I will. I said whenever you call me about this ring, I said I want to give her a nicer, better ring.
Is this supposed to be a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise.
Yeah. I'm sure she doesn't watch the show anyway.
Yeah, she got through the first 5 minutes. Oh, Brian, that's it.
Oh, he did good. Bye.
Oh, yeah. We go.
Yeah.
Wallace Wood, though, how many reining horses has he owned? How long has he been an NRHA owner?
I want to hear this story, Brian.
I don't know how many he's owned, but he sent me a horse that Cade had that went to Fernando that was just the stuttiest, rotten horse ever. And gelded him, and I rode him. I watched my help ride him. I watched, everybody ride him. And, I just told him, I said, Wallace, I said, this is not the right horse that we need. I said, not by anywhere in the shape or form that we need. And what do you think I should do? I said, you should lose whatever money you lost. And I said, and sometimes the first money you lose is the best money you lose. He said, I said, get rid of it. Well, in my mind at the time, I thought, this guy's just lost a lot of money on this horse. He's done. He's not going to call me back. I'm not going to hear from him. He calls me up a couple of weeks later. I price a horse to him, a yearling. Send him pictures. He goes, I like her. He goes, I don't really, really like her. And then he sends me a picture of Disco, and he said, I want you to drive to Purcell and look at her. I'm like, I don't know if I want to drive to Purcell and look at a Perlino filly. And he goes, well, don't you like the way she's made? I said, yeah. He said, well, you told me that all these ladies would buy color and whatever. He said, you buy that mare and you put a show record on her. If you breed her to a sorrel, it's going to be a Palomino. A black, it's going to be a buckskin. A bay, it's going to be a buckskin. He goes, I can control all of that stuff. And he said, all you got to do is put a show record on her. So then when I went to Florida with her, I'm like, okay, show record. then like, okay, Congress, more show record. And then I'm like, well, shit, how much show record does he want? Do all that stuff. And then, I think he's got a super mare that can do a big thing in the industry.
Oh, she's $1 million plus horse now. And,
Yeah.
The reason for the question is because, somebody like George, your dad's owned reining horses for how many years, and he never had one that won the Futurity. And I never met Wallace Wood at a horse show until this year, and got a Futurity champion. How lucky is that, or how awesome is that?
My dad, the funny thing that he's ever said about that mare is he said, the only thing I don't like about that mare is that my name is not on her papers. And he said it since she was 2 years old. He said, that's the only thing I don't like about that mare is my name's not on the papers. Mm-hmm. And then Wallace, meeting my dad at the Futurity was the first time he ever met my dad. He goes, your dad cheered for me with that horse is the same as if it was his own horse. And I said, all of us are that way. Mm-hmm. How many times you ever looked over at one of your friends when you kicked ass at the NRBC? I'm over there jacked up, wiping my eyes. Gunny ran in there and slid 40 feet across the middle, and I'm like, I'm in love with his horse. I'm in love with him, and you do that stuff, and I don't know. I think most of us are family, but you want to kick each other's butt. But if I can't kick your butt today, then I want you to kick the butt, or whoever. Most of the time.
Yeah. How many people tried to come by your mare at the Futurity?
There's a couple, several.
I imagine, because I think that mare's going to be a great producer.
Yeah, I haven't called him back yet.
Yeah, she just appears to me to be so good-minded and rock solid, steady.
Great minded.
Yeah.
Looks awesome.
Yep. No, that's going to be fun watching her raise babies. When are you going to breed her?
Well, she actually already has a baby on the way. In February or March, she's supposed to have a gun of trash out.
What do you want for it?
Baby.
At 100. Who's gonna give me 100? I got 2. I got 300.
Well,
And it'll be for Halloween.
yep. Wallace's plan coming together. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, he's like he's such a straight faced kind of guy that he can like hold his emotions back better than I can, because like, I mean, if I get cranked up, I either want to punch you or cry with you or whatever. But like, you know, some of the stuff that goes on, I look over at him and he's just like, he said, Brian, you do whatever you want to do. I'm like push me a little bit more. Push me a little bit one way or the other. Like if I know you want this, push me that way. And he goes, you do it. It's your thing. It's you and her and whatever. And you know,
not that you needed it for sure. You know, there's nobody more capable of walking in there and getting one shown than you are, but it has to feel good when you got Jason and Sean and a number of other guys that you mentioned, kind of, you know, they're riding up there with you. And I think I've been in that situation. It just gives you a little bit more confidence, and it makes the moment, it feels like it's not just you, you know? It feels like you're riding for the team, and that's got to be a great feeling.
That floors me a little bit, because I mean, like when you think about it, you know, I just beat Jason, I just beat Sean, you know, whatever, and they're like, well, if I can't beat you, okay, then here, let me help you. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and you know, Jason clearing the arena and Sean, you know, keeping track of the time and making sure that the Stewart had the same time as he had and whatever, and you know. You know, doing all that stuff. I mean, that's not. I don't know if that's a normal thing in other sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're in NASCAR, if the guy goes, "Hey, you need a gallon of gas," or or whatever. I mean,
new engine.
I don't know. Oh, your engine's messed up. Here, let us help you. We'll you know, fix that. I don't know if that happens in other sports. Like when I was a kid and played team sports, you know, I don't know that they ever said, "Oh, you know, whatever. Here, let's do that for the other team." I don't know. I don't remember that happened like
yeah.
Like
well,
that.
You weren't the other team at that point. You already beat those guys. Now, you just had to beat Andrea, and Andrea's won enough that I think everybody roots for an underdog a little bit, and you hadn't won it yet. And I think the crowd for sure sitting there. I think the crowd for sure was on your side, and you know, I saw Jason. I didn't see Sean, but I saw Jason running around there trying to get things organized, and it's fun to watch.
I always like to watch these motivational things, and I watched this video about 2 weeks before the Futurity with this Tyson Fury and Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Yeah, Ruiz. And like, it's a video, and it's got Sylvester Stallone and the blonde-haired guy from the Rocky movie. And
Ivan Draco.
Yeah, it's got Mike Tyson.
Of course, Joe Schmidt would know his name.
It's got all these guys that are in this thing doing the commentating, and Ruiz was a write-in for the heavyweight title of the world. And he's sitting there, a little chubby guy, and there's Tyson Fury. I mean, he looks like what a human being should look like. I mean, this guy doesn't have an ounce of fat on him.
Well, no, he really is very fat. Tyson Fury is very fat. I think you're thinking of the
Anthony Joshua.
yes.
Yeah, Anthony Joshua. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Joshua, and there's this guy. I mean, he's so cut, he's so fit, and
Yeah.
whatever, and like
Clean cut. Good
he's
looking.
standing there.
Yeah.
He's got the perfect haircut and whatever, and you're like
Looks like a killing machine.
Yeah.
a killing machine. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. He's this much taller than the other guy, and during this fight with the commentating and whatever, like he's going along and Anthony knocks him down twice.
Yeah.
I mean, knocks the pudding out of him. And this guy flies back, whatever, and you're thinking,
over.
this little fat guy, I mean, why is he doing this? I mean, he's
Yeah.
going to die. And, I mean, for that kind of money, I think I'd let the guy punch me too. But, you know, he goes along, and then finally, like, he hits him and knocks him down. And then Mike Tyson goes, he knows that he can be hurt, and he knows that he can do it again. And, like, in a little different way, I'm like, I've picked a fight with Anthony Joshua, and I'm walking across the street. I'm the little fat guy, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And then I think, like, he's nervous about me running off with him. I say, hey, I hurt his feelings once. I just need to hurt his feelings again.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, like, I think I was less nervous going into the second thing, the runoff with, you know, shit, I punched him in the face one time. Let's do it again. I mean, like,
Yep. For sure. For sure. And you know, like we've all talked, I mean, you've been there and done that. You know, you've been in runoffs, you've been in big situations, and I think the common denominator of a lot of guys that horse show at a high level, the most nervous you are all day is before you walk out the front door. Once you get on your horse, you're a little less nervous. Once you get in the makeup pen, you're a little less nervous. Once you get in the chute, the nerves are gone. And then you're just thinking about going and getting your shit done. And I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, that's just kind of how most of the guys I've talked to are that can show at a high level.
yeah, 2 years ago when I was second and the Futurity was going to be big time, my wife gets a good idea. Oh, I'm going to let you sleep in. I'm going to leave you here alone. Whatever. I wake up alone in my hotel room, and I'm looking around and whatever, and I'm thinking about all the stuff that's going to happen. And I won the first go around. I won the second go around. And all of a sudden, I start dry heaving and walking around the room. I mean, I'm putting on a show that I'm so glad that nobody could see. I'm going around the room by myself, and I'm like, I mean, I walk in the bathroom, I look at myself, and I'm dry heaving in the bathroom, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't need to stay here by myself. And so I get over to the horse show, and then everybody starts coming, and, you know, whatever around, and then, like, I was fine, but, like, being there by myself, I'm like I'm alone right now. I don't want to be alone. I want to be in the middle of the stuff and not dry heaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, but to add to your point there a little bit, you're about to show a mare in the finals of the Futurity that you won Florida on, you won the Congress on, you won the second go. You clearly woke up that morning with expectations to win the Futurity. How did you deal with that? How did you deal with it this time?
I mean, I think, like, getting ready to show her that day, I thought, you know, like when the class started and you're seeing people running wide open and doing these, you know, whatever, and I'm like my horse is not a +1 circler. She can circle plus half, and she's cute going plus half. And I said, I need to beat them stopping and turning around. And when my wife gets on her and brings her in the arena, I mean, I'm riding my other horse around, and I'm thinking, I wish she was over here now, but she doesn't need to be over there now because it was too early. And then she walks in the arena with her, and that mare walks in with her head down, and she's relaxed. And Nike said, what do you want me to do? I said, I think you need to trust your judgment. I said, if she feels good, trot her a little bit. I said, if she doesn't feel good, trot her a lot. And when I came across the street with 8 horses to go before her, I mean, I get on her and I trot her around 5 minutes, and I loop a couple of circles, and I'm like, this horse is ready to show. I said, I don't need to.
Do you think having the yellow horse to show and being busy with him kept your brain off of getting too nervous for the white mare?
No, I think I went in there on the yellow horse and I like, these guys are thinking this guy can't ride. he knew how to ride in the go around and he forgot how from the go around to the finals. Like this guy doesn't know how to ride. I mean, like whatever. Like I wish that we would something would happen and like I would get pulled away to somewhere else. But like they're thinking this guy, he's forgot how between the go rounds, and I'm like.
I was just curious as to how getting ready for that day even affected you, like how you functioned that day. Like how nervous were you, you know, at 2 o'clock or at noon? Did you eat lunch that day? You know? Or was it on your brain that you were going to show this white mare? Did you dry heave did you dry heave at all Saturday morning?
I didn't drive heave on that day, which was nice.
It was nice.
Brian Bell, the dry heaver. T-shirts now.
One thing that was funny is when I was second in the Futurity with Cleanest Finest Taffy, I was draw 1 on Starbucks Jazz, and I showed Starbucks Jazz, and if he wouldn't have ran backwards, he marched to 229. Randy Paul beat me with a 27, and I marked a 26.5 on her. But the guy that worked for me at the time, you know, it was kind of the same thing. He said, "What do you want me to do with her?" And I said, "Pitch the reins loose and just trot her till I come back." I said, "When I come back," I said, I did ask Mike McIntyre. I said, "Keep an eye on him, make sure he trots and trots only. I don't want him to touch her. I don't want him to pull on her. I don't want him to do anything like that." My wife, I gave her a little more rein to do whatever she wanted to do, but you know, I think that's a big part. Like, you know, when you got several of them in the finals, and if you only got, you know, 8 horses or 9 horses or whatever, I mean, like, you know, none of us can do it by ourselves. You have to have somebody that's on the team that can go, you know, either ride it a lot and get it ready, or ride it a lot less and get it ready. I mean, and that, you know, I think for all of us, like having, you know, people that can, you know, do that and help you out with it.
So, I mean, if you got one in the next finals, I'll give you a horse to ride that morning, I guess. Like 8 horses before you go, you can ride mine.
Here, load mine around a little bit for me.
I need you to fix this, okay? Keep your brain off of that. Fix this.
Yeah, well, Brian, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Congrats on,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Well deserved.
I'm floored. I'm super happy that it finally happened.
Yeah. Well, we told you after the last show you were going to have to do something special to get back here again. By God, you did it.
You did.
I was worried it was going to be the last time I was ever invited. So I was like, shit, I like those guys. I got to figure out how to get over there more.
Well, good job. Well done.
Very good.
All right.
Yeah. Great show.